Hi everyone, welcome to the next class of Viewpoints, Enlightened Perception for a Peaceful Future. And today we are going to be talking about language and looking at how language shapes our experience of reality, how language not only shapes reality, it shapes how we communicate, it shapes how we see, and it shapes the results that show up. So it's a big class. I hope you like it. Let's get started. So all of us know how to talk and we all know how to use language. It's something we've been brought up with. Our parents showed us how to do it. We learned it in school. It comes naturally to us. But generally speaking, I feel that a lot of the time we're quite lazy with the words that we use. Now, let me tell you why. One of the things that general semantics teaches us is to be careful when we use the word is. What do I mean by that? When we say he is stupid, they are good, they are bad, Thomas is smart, Thomas is having trouble. Whatever we say when we use the word is. Now, why is that a problem for general semantics and why is that a problem for us? Now, at the end of the day, really all we can go on is our perception of things. As I've already said in previous classes, we don't know the truth. We're always guessing, right? We're guessing. We're making the best out of what we know at the time. We are filtering information. We are presented with thousands of bits of information. And what we do as human beings, we abstract like certain important bits of information that's important to us based on our beliefs and our conditioning. So already how life occurs to us is limited. Now, when we say the word is, when we use the word is, what we're saying is, this is how it is. I'm 100% sure because that word is this is how it is. It's not I think it's this way or I wonder if it's that way or it seems to me this way. What we're saying is this is this way. And really it's not true. As I've said in previous videos, as human beings, really everything is a guess. Like there's things that we can be less sure of and there are things that we can be more sure of. So in science, I think I might have told you, there's this thing called fuzzy logic where everything is a probability. What's the probability that I'm going to get up tomorrow morning alive? There's probably a high probability. I can't be sure, but there's a pretty high probability. And everything occurs as a probability. What's the likelihood that I'm going to be employed tomorrow? Probably a pretty good possibility, but it might not be certain. And when we're making judgments about reality, about how we see things, really they are guesses. We're guessing. And our guess is based on the limited perspective, the limited view that we can see, and the limited amount of information that we have because, as you know, we can't know everything about the situation. So let's look at some generalizations. If I were to come up with a generalization and say, I don't know, the French are arrogant. Let's say I said that. You can see I'm saying that as a fact. This is how they are. Now we know that that is a huge generalization, of course. What evidence do I have to support that claim? Is that really true? Can I really say that's how it is? Well, the answer is no. If I were to say going to the opera is a waste of time. Again, is that a fact? Is that how it actually is? Is that how it is for everyone? How would I support that? The answer is, that's not fact. That's not totally true. When I say this is how it is, really it's the wrong word. If I were to say people with a PhD are smart, right? Is that a fact? Is that true? What does smart mean? What is my understanding of smart versus your understanding of smart? Again, when we use the word is, we're just saying that's how it is, without realizing that there's more to it than meets the eye. When we label ourselves as something, I am this or you are that. When I say to someone, you are bad or he is evil, can I really use those words? In order to say that, I have to ignore all the other information, all the other stuff about that person. It has to be ignored. And really what I'm doing is I'm putting my own label on that person. And I'm saying, this is how it is. And I do the same for myself when I say, I am this or I am good. Again, I'm labeling myself. I'm using the verb to be. And the truth of the matter is, it's very difficult to be able to use that word. This is how it is. Yes, there are situations where we might be quite sure, but when we use those words, what happens, we become sure of ourselves. And how often do you look in the news? How often do you see our politicians? How often do you see the journalists using judgments and blaming each other, pointing fingers at each other, using the word is or you are or they are or he is this way? Now, in general semantics, we say that's just not true. It's the wrong word to use, because when we use that word, we delete everything else. We focus on that one bit of information, and it like hypnotizes us. And then somebody else hears that and they say, oh yeah, that person is bad, or that person is evil, or Russia is bad, or Russia is evil, or whoever the latest bogeyman is. In order to say something is, we have to ignore everything else. Now, life is always moving, it's always changing, it's always evolving like a river. It's never the same. Today is not like yesterday, and tomorrow will not be like today. It's always changing, it's always flowing. Where is the is in reality? Is anything stable? Everything is in a process of flux, of change. And if that is the case, then our language needs to reflect that more. And also because we are limited by our perception, by the filters that we look at reality through, can we really say, this is how it is, this is how they are? It's very difficult, and it's something that's not always possible. So what would we recommend instead? Well, in general semantics, what you would do is you would make allocation for the fact that this is how it seems to you. We have to view things through our own apparatus, our eyes, our ears, through our mind. So you might say, this is how it seems to me. You might say, based on my experience, that person seems to be bad person. Based on my experience, I think that person is bad. It appears to me, it occurs to me. You see, what we're saying is, we're not saying this is how it is. We're saying, this is how it occurs to me. This is how I see it. This is how I see things from my point of view, not other people's point of view. Now, what would the world be like if people stepped out of that is mentality? Now, there was a great thinker, a guy called, I think his name was Edward Borland. He created a language called E prime. And E prime was basically English, but without the verb to be. Now you can imagine that's very difficult, and you can't speak that way all the time. It's not easy, but to really reduce the amount of times that people say this is how it is, or they are, or I am, because in order to say that, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not true. It's a partial truth at best, and it limits people's perspective. It limits people's ability to think laterally, to think outside of the box, to see things as flowing, to see things as unfolding. And when we say this is this way and they are that way, we put them in a box, and we put ourselves in a box. If anything, when you talk that way, you say more about yourself than you do about somebody else, right? Because the people that we're judging, they're not one-dimensional. It's not like that's just one side. They've got thousands of sides. They've got long histories of experiences and moments and relationships and behaviors. To universally judge someone, or to universally use that word is, it just doesn't make sense. Let's look at some recent movies. When you go on Rotten Tomatoes and people say, this movie is shit, this movie is great, right? That's not true. It's just how it seems to you. So the word is, the is of identity, is not a great word to use. It's not a powerful word to use. There are better ways that we can talk about reality that allow us to be more open, to be more in communication, to be less sure, less dogmatic, less certain, and to be more open to possibility and flow, and more closer to reality. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to get it exactly right. We're just trying to improve and be less wrong. In truth, all of us are people that do good things, and we're people that do bad things. And some people do more bad things than good good things and other people do more good things than bad things. But we are a combination. It's the same as countries. You can't just say a country's bad or a leader's bad. Those situations are complex, they're nuanced. There are many different facets. They're very deep. And in order to make like those singular judgments, this is how it is, you have to ignore all of that depth. And we want to be deep thinkers. We want to go deep and understand the totality, the wholeness of something. It's very difficult to be able to say these universal judgments about countries, about religions, about anything, and use that word is. So think about this, think about how it makes a difference in your life. Consider how if you shift your language from is to this is how it seems to me, this is how it occurs to me, this is how it feels to me, what difference would that make for you? What difference would it make in an argument or a conversation with your partner, your family, to step out of that is world and into that more free-flowing world of this is how it occurs, this is how it seems. So I hope you liked the class. If you've got any questions, put them in the notes and I'll catch you later.